Sims, and we are back with more Hakuoki Kyoto wins. Going down Hijikata's route, playing the game all over from scratch. So, here we go. Still in Chapter 1. Mid-February 1864. I slid the door open and met a breath of cool morning air. Clumps of thick clouds trundled silently over the city, an unusually strong wind driving them along. It's cold today. I shivered a bit and grabbed a jacket from near the door to wrap around myself. A week had passed since I'd begun living in the headquarters of the Shinsengumi. I was given a room of my own, but they made it clear that I wasn't to roam freely. They weren't the best accommodations, but given how close I was to being murdered by them, instead, I thought it was best not to complain. Still, do I really need to dress like this all the time? I sighed, staring at my feet on the cold floor. They'd given me temporary accommodations, but it wasn't without its strict conditions. The Shinsengumi will look after you. We do not allow women to simply wander our doors. The Shinsengumi keeping a woman here. If such rumors were to spread, tongues would begin to wag. Even worse, may invite guests who are also searching for Kyoto to come here, looking for you. It's still up to speculation, however, whether or not he's been taken or attacked. So many unanswered questions hovering about, all the more reason to keep recklessness at a low. In other words, you need to keep this facade as a man. Do I make myself clear? Clear? His reasoning was sound. Perhaps, more than that, I knew he was concerned not only for the Shinsengumi, but also for the safety of my father and myself. I didn't have a choice, regardless, but keeping this in mind made his orders more palatable. I didn't expect this to be an issue, but having a woman around could disrupt morale, so to speak. Yeah, right, because a lot of people could get rapey, is all I'm saying. For that reason, only we, the Shinsengumi's leadership, will know the truth of your situation. It's imperative for us to keep this under wraps, for there's no telling what becomes of rumors. I understand the situation, so what should I do while I'm here? Nothing. You're gonna get a room, and you're gonna stay in it. Really? I could have sworn we decided she was gonna be someone's page. Soji, keep your tongue in your mouth or I'll cut the fucking thing off. I can't help it. Every time he swears, it makes me laugh. Cut the fucking thing off. I can't say it angry because it just makes I'm smiling when I say it. I'll cut the fucking thing off. I can't. It's so good. I love it. Before long, I'd been there for a week. I guess I don't have much of a choice. No sense in dwelling on what I can't do after all. Although it was still a new sensation, I'd grown comfortable in dressing like a boy. Particularly the feeling of wearing pants. Oh my god, and do you have fucking pockets in your pants? Oh my god, it's amazing. I straightened up and touched the kodachi that Hijikata had given back to me. This was a familiar friend of mine, the blade by my hip stretching back to as far as I could recall. According to my father, this was an important heirloom passed down through the Yukamura clan. As such, I was forced to take lessons in swordplay, making me well aware of what the blade was capable of. I'd never cared much for weapons. Weapons hurt people, which is an obvious factor, but it was more than that, at least for me. For as far back as I can remember, any wounds I suffered healed at an incredible rate. Small cuts would disappear overnight. As a child, I thought nothing of it, but as I grew older, I began to realize that I was not quite normal. My father insisted it was a gift of the gods, but that I should tell no one of it. I didn't tell anyone, of course. I was afraid they would treat me like a monster if they knew. Ever since then, I'd done my best not to get hurt. I stayed as far away from blades as I could, and before I realized it, I developed a fear of them. The constant need for disguise was frustrating, but my condition left me more unsettled. Okay, that kind of so you kind of forget this, but that almost I'm afraid of weapons and I don't want to use them. I get it, but so that does make her cowardliness and uselessness a little more understandable. Not to say it's not irritating as fuck still, but it's more okay, I get it. I got it. Okay. You gave her a backstory to be okay, sure, it's really convenient, but explain why she's such a coward when it comes to needing to use fucking weapons. But okay. Still, that wasn't the only thing on my mind. The rank and file soldiers treated me coldly. Not just imagining it, right? I learned having a private room was a privilege, even for captains. For a child to arrive and receive better treatment than their own captains. No surprise, really, for the soldiers to hate me. True, I suppose I can't really blame them. I was enjoying the Shinsengumi's hospitality, and so I felt I should help them in some way, but I knew nothing of soldiers and their ways. I gave as much effort as possible, despite Hijikata's commands for me to remain in my room. How does one calm the lonely, restless mind? I think, for the soldiers, whenever the captains or other officers would look out for me, it appeared as if they were giving me special treatment. They're just watching me. To make sure I kept my mouth shut, they took turns keeping watch over me. Any mistake on my part would cause huge trouble, so they were making an effort to keep me contained. Even if I could speak with the soldiers, what conversations could we share? Nothing? My only respite from any possibility of detection would be to stay alone. Again. All I wanted from this, though, was to find my father. Even though they'd promised to help me, keeping me locked in here without the ability to leave was no better than being tied up. Just when it felt like I'd made some progress in my journey, my search was kept to a halt. Perhaps, I thought, I could talk to Hijikata. If he would give me permission to look for my father... Oh no, that's right. Hijikata just recently departed to Osaka. Well, if Hijikata's not here... I wasn't sure what to do. We're supposed to stay put. To be completely honest, staying in the room was awfully boring. No, considering your predicament, Jesus, Spacey can read. You need to follow Hijikata's orders, Spacey. I didn't want to cause a disturbance on top of what I'd done. The consequences would be... What am I doing here? A forlorn malaise wafted over me. The room was nice, of course, but also practically empty. I wasn't uncomfortable, I suppose, but not comfortable either. And nothing passed the time. Here I thought I'd gotten used to doing nothing. My father's business required him to take trips frequently, sometimes for days at a time, and so I spent a good deal of time home on my own. This isn't quite the same, though. Back then I always knew he'd be back eventually. Waiting for someone you knew would return, and waiting for what you didn't quite know, are two very different things. When will I be able to start looking for father again, I wonder? My reflections all manifest into sighs eventually. Hoping somebody hears me. Yugamura! I've been looking for you! I didn't think you'd be here! Kondo smiled brilliantly at me as he stepped into the room, holding a tray in his hands. I'm sorry? I wasn't sure what to make of his words, so instead I silently bowed. Wait a moment. Is this your room? For now, yes. Oh, no, then I barged into a woman's room without announcing myself. Oh no, it's fine. After all, it isn't as though there's anything here I wouldn't want you to see. I have nothing. Ugh, we decided you would be Toshi's page, so I assumed your room would be next to his. Wouldn't that be lovely? Then I could sneak into his room. What? Hijikata had, of course, failed to tell Kondo that I had yet to be made a page. I wasn't surprised. It wasn't too hard to see what was going on. I'm not really prepared to entertain, but you're welcome to come in if you'd like. There's no need to worry. If I may, take you up on your offer. And you needn't feel nervous around me. While you're here, you're a guest of the Shinsengumi. Then he placed the tray on the floor between us. This is... As I looked down at the tray, I could barely stifle a sudden squeal of excitement. Ahem. You are a fan of sweets, I take it. Well, I found some of these in the cupboard, so I brought them here for you. On the plate, he'd arranged several colorful candies and a cup of warm green tea. So what do you think? If you'd like to have some, go ahead. No need to hold back. Thank you very much. I cautiously reached to take one of the candies. It's delicious. Moshiroi. It had been a while since I had any sweets. Something about the small, colorful candy seemed so adorable that I couldn't help but smile. Ah, I'm glad you like them. Kondo possessed a warming presence that made me feel safe as he watched me eat. Oh, yes. I've heard you haven't been allowed to go outside. It's true, but it seems better to know my place. Rushing things would only make more trouble. So, just as Hijikata suggested, I plan on waiting it out just a little more. I see. I'm glad you understand. I know Toshi seems a little rough on the edges, but I promise you, he's a truly caring man. Hijikata... caring? We're supposed to say I could see that. I know we are. Yeah, I could see that. I know, right? That didn't seem right. Then again, I told myself, Kondo knows him much better than I do. Much better I do, yeah. He may be a little strict with you, but only because he has your best interest at heart. I guess that to be the case. If the commander doesn't think it's time for me to leave yet, then I trust him. I'm sure you all know what's out there better than I do. I hadn't spent much time with him, but it was obvious that Hichikata was no fool. He was intimidating, of course, but he was a man of good intentions. I'll speak with Toshi. You're bored, I know, but I have to ask you to hang on a bit. All right, thank you. He hadn't done much, to be honest, but Kondo's visit had cheered me up greatly. Of course, the conditions of staying in my room were left unchanged. However, the creature comforts of spending an afternoon drinking warm tea gave me some life. Time stood still, shadows drifting along my wall. How long am I going to do this? Solitude was proving detrimental to any glimmer of hope. My heart felt heavier with each moment. How lonely the wistful, forlorn mind can become. She's getting all melodramatic, I love it. I've been swept up in a frightening world I didn't understand and couldn't possibly control. I can't possibly figure out what's happening to Father if I'm stuck here. Only Hijikata can give me permission to leave. He's gone. All I could do is wait. Lamenting things I couldn't change wouldn't improve my situation. It would arguably make it worse. I knew I couldn't trust the men of the Shinsengumi completely. They were, after all, men who could take life in the blink of an eye. It would be just as easy for them to end my life. Well, at least they've all been nice to me. For now. They're nice men deep down, right? Does anyone ever call you gullible? What are you doing here? Oh, you didn't notice me? Well, it's my turn to keep watch. Did you hear everything I said? He'd heard me. It definitely heard me. I wanted to scream, but before I could open my mouth, Saito stepped out from behind the door. I think that's enough fraternizing, Soji. Wait, were you here the whole time too? I arrived only moments ago. Oh, thank goodness. I'm sorry for screaming like that. It's nothing. And at any rate, it's not as if you said anything that would cause trouble for you. True. I didn't say anything, bad. But still, well, I was just embarrassed to be caught talking to myself. As Saito watched me fidgeting and mumbling, his eyes pierced right through me. Fucking adorable is he. I came to tell you that dinner is ready, but have I interrupted something? Oh no, nothing at all. I was waiting for, I don't know why I thought Okita was going to start talking. Anyway, I'd intended to wait until you and Sochi finished your discussion, but I figured if I left the two of you alone, it would be longer before I saw either of you, so I came in. Saito shrugged shortly before we caught the sound of footsteps approaching us noisily. Heisuke shot through the door. The moment he saw us, however, his face fell. Hey, guys! Dinner time! My apologies, Heisuke. I'll be there presently. Yeah, you too, Spacey! Hurry up or it's gonna be gone before you know it! Sorry, Toto. I'll be there as soon as I can. He turned to leave, but he halted in his tracks. He pursed his small lips together before speaking. Look, can you drop the whole Toto thing? Just call me Heisuke. Everyone else does. Are you sure? Yeah, why not? We're practically the same age. Oh, we don't need to use honorifics. Alright, I'll do that then, Heisuke. Great! Sounds better already. Shall we go? Heisuke-san. You're late. You kids are... Okay. I don't know why. I couldn't read that for a second. Oh my god, my brain. Anyway. Kids are late. Who's gonna answer for my crying stomach? To my crying stomach. You mean growling, Shin. Really, he's so simple sometimes. You guys ought to apologize to my stomach. He wanted to dig in, but I said no. We gotta wait for him. You're such a softie, Shin. Alright, guys. It's time to eat, and that means every man for himself. Hakuoki's faces. Man, there's barely enough here to feed a kid, let alone a man. So I'll just have to take yours. Survival of the fittest. This food is mine. Hey, why do you always steal my food? It's because of the difference in size, kid. I got a bigger body. It means I need more food. Well, I'm still growing, old man, so I gotta eat more too. Sorry you had to see the Spacey. They're always like this. I've gotten used to it. How are we to deal with accepting such insanity? Oh, why aren't you taking anything? Yeah, I'm good. If I eat too much, I slow down. Hey, what do you mean slow? Whatever, I'm taking that. Go for it. As long as I get a little sake to sip, I'm good. Sounds like I'm going with sake too. Try not to worry about eating too much or being a freeloader or something, Spacey. Just eat your little heart out, okay? I know. I can't help but feel a little bad, though. Well, if you let that get to you, you're gonna lose. And you have to protect what's yours. Okay. Always eating alone made the experience of dinner with these men both an exhilarating and frightening evening for me. It was actually fun. See, there's that smile. You gotta do that more often. We aren't gonna hurt you. Harada, you just did not just fucking tell a woman to smile. Oh, that's negative points. I still love you, though. Harada, his mouth curled up into an honest smile of his own. I know in this instance he wasn't like, oh, a woman should smile more often. It's more like, see, you should smile because we're not going to kill you. Like, dude, it's more like, yeah, see, you're having fun. That's good. We're not going to stab you. I mean, Okita might, but the rest of us won't. Unless you cross us and then we'll fucking kill you. But Okita's, that one, worry about that one. Did I really look so down? Perhaps they were all trying to cheer me up. I wasn't quite sure how to feel. I was conflicted over whether or not to feel pity for myself or to appreciate the moment for what it was. The joy seemed to be winning out, however, and I caught myself smiling as Inoue entered the room. Gentlemen, do you have a moment? As usual, his voice was warm, but in his eyes was a level of solemnity I'd never seen before, at least during our brief acquaintance thus far. The warmth of the room slowly evaporated. I've just received word from Osaka. Sanin has been gravely injured in battle. What? What happened? A dry goods store in Osaka was invaded by a group of Ronin. Doshi and Sanin arrived in time to enter the fray and subdue the Ronin. However, Sanin was stabbed during the encounter. Is he going to be alright? According to the letter, he is gravely hurt, but the wound is on his left arm. It will be hard for him to wield a blade, but he will almost certainly survive. Oh, thank goodness. I exhaled as a brief sigh of relief, but the rest of the room is tense, still itching for answers. He should be returning here in a few days. Now please excuse me. I must speak with Kondo. He turned as he spoke, his last words delivered over his shoulder, and was gone. It was Saito who soon broke the awkward silence. Injury so grave, he cannot clutch his sword. And perhaps the wound severed an artery. To wield a blade with one arm is a disservice. He may never carry a blade again if it's true. Oh, at last I understood. Fighting with a single hand would mean less strength behind his blows. Against an opponent of similar skill, he would almost certainly lose. If push comes to shove, he'll have to take it. I don't think Sanen's just gonna give up. Don't jinx him, Soji. It's gonna look bad if officers start joining the Furies. Huh? Wait, that didn't make any sense. What are the Furies? How? So Furies come from something you drink, where any injuries could be cured. Heisuke! Huh? Before he could move, Harada was on his feet and halfway across the room. I barely had time to gasp before he drove his fist into Heisuke. Ow! Heisuke, are you alright? Sano, you're overreacting. That was my bad, Heisuke. I slipped first. You alright? Sorry. After a moment, Harada curtly nodded to Heisuke in apology, the latter offering a quick, pained smile. Nah, I should have been watching what I said. Still, Sano, you didn't have to hit me. His punch had enough force to knock out a lesser man, but Heisuke seemed unfazed. It was never clearer how different these men were. Spacey, everything you just heard is something you're never to repeat. Well, I'm sure you're curious, but we can't tell you anything else, so don't ask. And forget what you just heard from Heisuke. His voice was friendly, but his eyes gave his word a cold weight that made me feel uncomfortable. Yeah, right, like, The Furies that Heisuke spoke about are men to be pitied. Okita's voice was flat, emotionless. A sudden chill of melancholy entered his eyes. I couldn't bring myself to say anything more. Thankfully, Nagakura broke the awkward silence. It's nothing you need to worry yourself about. You don't have to get all worked up. Sure. I was only a guest in their house, not a warrior of the Shinsengumi. The truth of the Shinsengumi's secrets were no business of mine. Something I'd known. There was little value in that sentiment, however. Put it from your mind. Involving yourself in her affairs will only put you in greater danger. I bit my lip and kept silent. The wall between us was almost tangible, almost far too large an obstacle for me to defeat easily. I finished my dinner in sad silence, excused myself, and returned to my room. I had a great deal to think about. Furies, huh? I wondered to myself if the Furies referred to the Rakshasa? I'm going to picture it in Buddhist texts. Oh my god, my shoulders hurt. Though I wasn't well versed, I recalled reading a text about a man-eating demon god with that name. I have no idea where to start, from drinking the medicine to Captain becoming a Fury. Urgh. No, wasn't supposed to think about these things. I was only going to get myself in trouble if I stuck my nose where it didn't belong. Seeing or hearing the wrong thing could kill me. If I die, I'll have a hard time looking for my father. The Shinsengumi captains are keeping themselves hush around me, especially about the Furies. Are they doing it to protect me? Even if I dug around, I'm sure nothing could become of it. With that in mind, I did my best to clear my head of the evening's events and slipped into my futon. March 1864. It fast approached a month since I began living with the Shinsengumi headquarters. Within the Shinsengumi headquarters. Hijikata and Sanan finally returned to the compound from their trip to Osaka, but spirits were low. Sanan's injury had unforeseen consequences for everyone in the organization. Day-to-day operations became hectic for a little while. His wounds seemed quite dire, and they drained whatever goodness in his nature he'd hoped to keep. Sanan would spend days holed up in his room, protected by a barrier of impenetrable silence. If he were to leave his room, a rare occasion now, he was often short-tempered and quickly retreated. Aww. Even though I too spent days in the exile of my room, he seemed to take it much differently. Sanan seemed trapped within a painful memory, each day bringing him closer to a gloomy twilight. I softly pondered what service I could offer to the Shinsengumi if I were not allowed to search for my father. I'm sure Hijikata is overwhelmed with whatever business he's dealing with, but I need to visit him. I realize, with the tension so high, that it's better to have Hijikata on my side rather than not. I crept around the hall looking for Hijikata, but he was nowhere to be seen. Would it be impolite to visit his room directly? Probably. As I paced around the hall in contemplation, an unknown warrior appeared before me. Oh, Takeda. Yeah, I've been living in the Yagi residence for a month, but he was unfamiliar to me. My current dilemma compelled me to approach him. No! Excuse me, have you seen Hijikata? The man turned to respond, and my eyes widened to scan his enormous frame before he spoke. And who might you be? Mind telling me what you're doing here? Oh, well, it's a long story. Don't make me repeat myself. Answer me. I'm Spacey Yukamura. Recall hearing the commander recruited a young apprentice as his new page. Must be you. Yes? I wasn't aware they were telling people that I was an apprentice warrior at headquarters. However, my reputation was the last thing on my mind as I faced this man's pressuring gaze. I didn't appreciate the harsh scrutiny he seemed to impose, scanning me from head to toe. So why don't you start telling me about how you know the chief and commander? I hear from Ito. What kind of tricks did you have up your sleeve to slide in here? I did no such thing. Judging by how defensive you became, it sounds like I'm right on target. Look, this isn't the place where someone without any worth on the battlefield or in the strategy room can waltz in without earning it. I'm going to ask you one more time. How did you get in with the chief and commander? I gave them a blowjob under the table. All right, shut up. What? No, come on. That's what he's thinking. That's what Miki was thinking. Like, you won't bathe with me. Oh, I didn't know that all the captains liked young boys. Whoa! Yeah, they do. But I'm a girl, but it's okay. Like, he was like, you look like a girl. You just wanted me to be a girl, Miki. Anyway. I like how he announces himself. Why not? Kanryusai, yeah. Hi, Kanryusai Takeda. I'm asking you a question. What makes you think you can just ignore me? I just want to go up to someone and be like, and just say my name. Your full-on fucking name. Oh my god. Why did you give us your middle name too, bitch? Jesus. He grew increasingly agitated, almost like a petulant child, because I refused to answer him. He reached his massive hand over towards me as if to grab me, but then a voice stopped him. Hey, Takeda, the hell are you doing here? When he recognized Hijikata's voice, he snapped his hand back to his side. Well, well, Commander Hijikata. I'm here on business with Chief Kondo. That's so? I've heard nothing about it. He called me on special orders to assist him, or Colonel Sanin is out of commission. However, as it appears, Chief Kondo is nowhere to be seen, so I'll be on my way now. Takeda turned to take his leave, but then he slowed his step, leaving us with a few words. As a side note, Commander Hijikata, are the rumors true that you've welcomed this young blood as your page? Yes, but it's none of your concern to know more. Forgive me. I'll refrain from pressing for details, as it seems to be out of my jurisdiction. I do, however, question your predisposition toward keeping those from your birthplace close to you. It seems I forget myself. Please excuse me. He's like, it's none of your business to know more. Yeah. Takeda's like, Hijikata's boning that dude, that boy. You're like, no, not yet, but also I'm a girl. Like, that's going to make it awkward when they see us making out at some point. You're like, oh. Oh. I love gender bending stories. I really do. Like, girl pretends to be boy. Boy falls in love with girl pretending to be boy. I'm so confused. I'm actually a girl. Oh, thank God. That was gay. I wouldn't care. It's like Victor Victoria. I'm a woman pretending to be a man, pretending to be a woman. Great. Great movie. Love that. Once Takeda exited the hall, I couldn't help but feel a rush of relief. Hey, Yukamura. You'll be walking around the headquarters without permission. Yes, sir. I didn't mean to cause trouble. Your presence here is not common knowledge, and only those staying at Yagi residents know. Be mindful of anyone who visits from the Maikawa residence. Is that clear? Clear. I promise to be more careful going forward. So may I ask who that man was? A man. Captain of the 5th Division. His name is Kanryusai Takeda. Kanryusai Takeda? Something like that. His swordsmanship is decent, but he's well read and possesses a cunning mind for military science. He's a tricky one, so be careful. Okay. Furthermore, if you have no business being out, then I expect you to stay put in your room. But I just sit in there and do nothing. At least send me someone to play with. What? Hijikata attempted to dismiss me, having said what he felt was appropriate as a stern commander. I quietly returned to my room. No. We asked Hijikata if I can help around the compounds. I didn't give any chances to see Hijikata because he's avoiding me because he's secretly in love with me and doesn't want me to know, so I took the opportunity to offer my aid to the house. I actually have a favor to ask of you, Hijikata. Staying in my room for long periods alone makes me feel terribly useless. Would you please give me something to do? I'll do anything. Cleaning? Laundry? Anything! Hijikata sensed the sincerity of my plea, and it appeared as though he actually considered it. Do you really find yourself incapable of occupying your time in your room productively? You're like, I have nothing to... Like, there's literally a desk and a bed. What the fuck am I gonna do all day? Like, I don't even have a book to read. Like, if you gave me books. Well, a little. Fine. I shall discuss with Gen. So until further notice, stand by for your orders. Really? This is under the condition that you're to keep from interacting with outsiders, understand? Understood, but thank you so much. The next day, Inoue informed me that I was given more freedom within the headquarters, which allowed me to exit my room freely. Why didn't we get love points with Hijikata? Anyway, my duties included cleaning, laundry, and cooking. Not the most glamorous of chores, of course. However, it gave me an opportunity to occupy myself as opposed to going stark crazy in my room. She's like, cooking and clean. Cooking, fine, but like cleaning and laundry, I could go back to my room. Can I have a little book or something? Like a radio so I can like dance? Oh, there's no music? Somebody come sing to me? I don't know. June 1864. The 4th year of the Bunkyu era became the Ganji Ganen, and the summer sweetly blossomed. Spring shed its blooming skin, giving birth to lush green trees facing the wide open sky. During one of these beautiful summer days, I finished cleaning after everyone ate breakfast, and Saito brought me to the hall to Hijikata. Commander, it's Saito. I've brought you Gamora. Come in. Growl. Saito responded by quietly opening the sliding doors, gesturing me to enter the room. Upon entering, I saw Hijikata, but also Okita, Nakakura, Harada, and Heisuke in the hall. It appeared that only the captains, who were aware of my situation, were present. I know you've been waiting for some time. The time's finally come to let you out. Woohoo! It's like a puppy. Really? I could barely contain the excitement in my voice as soon as the words came out of his mouth. Look at him smiling. So, it's true there was a man in Fushimi that matched my father's profile? I'm not sure if it's true or not. It was our intention to let you verify for us, considering his daughter would recognize him best. I nodded in response. For now, any information pertaining to my father was appreciated, so I was thankful. So, where is this man who supposedly looks like my father? Our initial reports outline a place called the Terada Inn in Fushimi. Saito is assigned to check. Saito is assigned. I wasn't sure if that meant I was to accompany Saito or if I would have to wait longer for him. Then Harada chimed in. But this doesn't necessarily mean Koto is a guest of this inn. Yeah, being sighted in Fushimi could just mean he was walking around the city of Kyoto. Exactly. So that's why I'm asking the three of you, Harada, Shinpachi, and Heisuke, take her along on your rounds to assist her search for Koto. All of us? Usually we split up and go on rounds separately. Hijikata didn't bother entertaining a response, instead looking towards me. Was he suggesting these were the men who were responsible for dealing with me should I attempt to flee? Heisuke must have sensed this as well, so he made no attempt to push the issue any further. I understand what you're saying, but I don't like the fact that you're making us do all the babysitting. I thought you planned on patrolling as well, Hijikata. So for your own benefit, why don't you show your adorable page the ropes by having her with you? The hell are you talking about? Are you the one who pushed her onto me? I'm not having any of your insolence today. She isn't my page. Maybe, but all of the lower-ranking men are starting to believe it. There is, after all, a grain of truth in every lie. So why don't you give her up a fitting job? As Okita and Hijikata bickered at one another, the mood of the room was locked in their tense words, until Harada whispered to me, Well, Kyoto, as you've seen, isn't the safest place right now, so don't force yourself to leave. I mean, we all know what Koto looks like too, so the rest doesn't have to be yours alone. I could look for my father in Fushimi, or join the patrol rounds assuming he's moved places, or stay here to keep safe from the outside, or accompany Hijikata as his page. What should I do? Accompany Hijikata as his page, of course. In that case, please allow me to accompany you, Hijikata. Hey, the hell are you saying? Hijikata's voice trembled irately as if troubled by my suggestion, which made me nervous, but I thought I had a shot in convincing him. I mean, walking around town with you may help with getting leads to find my father. With the other warriors questioning my place, it may be in our best interest for me to act like your page. It could convince the others. I recalled in this moment my introduction to Takeda, who voiced his skepticism plainly. After sharing my viewpoint, Hijikata's expression soured. Then he responded, Listen, there's no need to believe in what Soji was describing about the city. He's just having fun messing with... Now aren't you happy you have an adorable little page, Hijikata? Hijikata stared bitterly towards Okita, and again it seemed that we were trapped in their bubble of silence. But eventually... Very well, but you better make absolutely sure that you stay the hell out of my way. Yes, I understand. I was somewhat surprised he obliged me. but I was so excited to join Hijikata and go outside. Skips around like an asshole. It's been almost 5 months since I've been able to experience the world and its scenery. Ugh, how did I end up in this predicament? Can't really go back on my word. Hijikata kept himself a few paces ahead of me, deliberately, and his foul mood made me nervous. His cold demeanor caused me to question whether or not I belonged here, if this was my place. It was difficult to turn these questions to and fro in my head, but I was trying to keep up with him. Someone called out as we passed a tea shop. Commander, there you are. I have a report for you, sir, that needs to be disclosed as soon as possible. If this person referred to Hijikata as commander, then he must be a Shinsengumi member. Sorry, I'm trying to make... Oh, sorry. I have such an itch. He whispered the report in Hijikata's ear. The man's word caused Hijikata's face to turn blank, and he looked to me to speak. I have an urgent matter to attend. I'm entrusting you to stay at this shop and ask about Kyoto. Huh? But then I'd be by myself. Would that be alright with you? In response, Hijikata gave me an examining glance, as if to probe all of my hidden thoughts, then looked down at me while asking, Did you plan on joining me just so you could run away? When his eyes met mine, the pit of my stomach dropped, turning cold from nervousness. No, of course not. Then don't bother me with stupid questions. You're to do as you're told, then you wait. Got it? Okay, understood. I wasn't sure what Hijikata's intentions were by leaving me behind, but the thing is like, we keep doing all these things with him, but we're not getting any love points. We've gotten, like, 2. Like, is he just that easy? We're like, what? Like, we're doing all the right things, but, like, we're going with him as his page. We're doing this. We said nice things about him with Kondo, and, like, we're not getting, like, oh my god, I'm so concerned. Like... Maybe they all come later, but we get no love points with him in the beginning. It's like, if we didn't already have love set high, it freaked me out a little, but... It was probably smarter to do as Hijikata said, so I asked the person at the shop about my father. Okay, where to start? I asked customers that wandered in and out of the store, politely grabbing their attention. Unfortunately, it seemed like no one knew anything about my father's whereabouts. My tea became cold, the little leaf flake sinking towards the bottom of the cup, and I sighed. Uh-huh. All right. The Shinsengumi is here to conduct a search. Everyone remain calm. Who owns this place? I recognized the shouting man by his familiar corps uniform as he barged into the shop. It was Takeda, the captain of the Shinsengumi's 5th Division. What could he be doing here? Excuse me, but I'm the owner of the store. What's the meaning of your business here? The owner's voice was trembling from being intimidated, and Takeda responded forcefully. Huh! I shouldn't even have to answer. It's been brought to my attention that you've been allowing Imperial Ronin extremists to conduct their business within these premises. Premises? What exactly are you plotting? If you do not give me an honest answer, I'll be forced to take you to headquarters where you'll be questioned. Please, don't be absurd. I would never do anything of the sort, or let such people in and out of my store. Oh, so you're calling the Shinsengumi a bunch of liars then, are you? No, I'm not saying that. Sweat poured down the owner's face, and he shook with fear. Takeda glanced around the store with a sticky glare. I quickly ducked behind a shelf so he wouldn't notice me. I managed to avoid detection as he scanned the store, and Takeda approached the owner again. It's in our best interest to allow local businesses to run as smoothly as possible, as you know. So depending on how well you cooperate, perhaps I can make all of this disappear. You're implying... I'm merely suggesting it would be in your interest to share some of your goodwill. As I peeked to get a closer view of their conversation, I could see the owner gulp. Although Takeda was not being explicit, it was deathly clear that he was soliciting a bribe from the shop owner. There's no way I could afford that, sir. I mean, there's nothing suspicious going on here. What's that? You're refusing to help the Shinsengumi, protectors of Kyoto's safety? God, he's so dramatic, right? No, I would never do such a thing. I'm going to take you to the headquarters. You must be a Ronin sympathizer, and I'm going to take you back and make you spill your guts. No! Oh no, I was sick to my stomach hearing him. Just when I was about to speak out, someone placed their hand on my shoulder. Iba! God, he's so pretty. Shh, don't. A girl should not get involved in such a dangerous situation. This man will not hesitate to hurt you, and it'll be grave. I don't remember the voice we gave him, but whatever, normal works. This mysterious samurai whispered gently into my ear, but I became completely distracted by his perfectly sculpted facial features. His skin looked incredibly fair and soft, and he was almost as gorgeous as Hijikata. For a second, I thought he was an actor. He was dressed in expensive, exotic-looking fabrics, leading me to believe he was famous. Don't worry. Just leave this to me. The softness of his voice enveloped me in a great calm, and I sat back down to let him proceed. He was like, okay, whatever you say, but I hoped he'd be okay. Takeda was massive, and his short temper seemed like a recipe for disaster if anyone crossed him. I can't imagine dealing with such a violent soul. I mean, he really is. He's like a big dude. It's funny. Excuse me, may I say something? You're with the Shinsengumi, right? Takeda turned to face this man, staring in disbelief that someone would approach him in such a manner. So? What is it to you? The owner of this shop clearly stated he isn't allowing any Imperial extremists to solicit here. So, with what charges do you intend on taking him back to your headquarters? What? How dare you question me like this? You're one of those Imperial extremists, aren't you? I should have known you'd turn up eventually. Takeda's just getting more and more dramatic as we go. I'm sorry. The mysterious samurai smiled coolly, and he responded calmly. So, just because I question you, I'm an extremist. I guess a fair investigation is out of the question. Well, you are preventing me from inflicting justice, which is just enough proof. Very well then. If things are going to escalate, I wouldn't want to upset the lady here. Would you mind handling our business outside? You sound afraid of getting your pretty face all bloodied up. Not surprising. Takeda huffed smugly to himself and waddled out of the store to challenge the samurai. Waddled. I like that. Waddle. Takeda's smirk remained on his face as the two met each other outside of the store. He assumed an offensive stance, and then reached for his katana to threaten him. Or not. Huh? As soon as Takeda moved his hand unsheathed, the samurai intercepted to cover the sword's mouth. Let go, or else I'll... Oh, don't tell me you really thought you were going to draw your sword, were you? If you were, then things between you and me are going to get serious. And I'm not sure you're ready for things to get serious. The samurai possessed a duality. One side was a soft-spoken gentleman, the other side a warrior. Takeda sensed this duality as well, because after the samurai made his claim, he made no movement. Before we knew it, people gathered around the store, murmuring amongst themselves and echoing the general sentiment of confusion and wonder. Amoeba wolves are having a duel? Are they causing trouble again? Such murmurs caught my ears as I looked ahead. It seems like we're drawing some attention. Do you still plan on drawing your sword? The samurai seemed to already know the answer. Takeda began to grit his teeth angrily, and he gruffly shook off the samurai's hand. I never forget a face, you bastard! I'll make you live to regret this day! His face was flushed with red, and he swiftly exited and disappeared from the store. As the tensions deflated, I exhaled in relief that things didn't come to violence. Phew! Glad that's over. That could have become ugly. Let's go back inside and check on our friend. Were you okay? Yes, that was nothing. I'm so glad. Why were you willing to risk your life against that man? You didn't have to stop me back there. The samurai slightly paused, then answered timidly. You remind me of someone from my past. I was perplexed. Me? Yes. You even blushed just like her. He studied my face carefully, his eyes dotting up and down my small face. Although I liked the attention, I still had no clue who this person was or where he was from. I'm sorry. I think you've mistaken me for someone else. I bowed lightly to him, and he looked a little taken aback. Oh, don't worry. It seems that I'm simply mistaken. My apologies. Please, let's return to the tea shop. Your tea and snacks must be ruined by now. The samurai's kind demeanor was nearly impossible to resist, drawing me to return to the store as if I caught the scent of the city's sweetest bun. He's like, oh, he's my sweet bun. Upon entering, the tea shop owner smiled and brought us freshly brewed tea. Aha! Was it you who poured our fresh tea? There's even some sweet bean jelly here. Sitting beside our tea was a neatly arranged platter of sweet bean jelly. Yes, thank you so much for helping me. You have saved me. Oh, please, I didn't do anything to deserve such kindness. Thank you so much, though. I love sweets. The pleasure is mine. Don't be shy. Have as much as you like. Take your time. The owner seemed to bow after every sentence, and then returned to tend to his counter. What a generous gesture. Would you like some of my sweet bean jelly? Oh no, I think the owner means for you to eat all of this. If you say so. Time to dig in. He cut the sweet bean jelly into elegantly sliced halves, and he expressed delight after each bite. In my experience so far, Samurai didn't ever seem to smile often, but every time he took a bite, he grinned like a child, smiling as if he was the happiest person alive. It wouldn't be too much of a stretch, maybe, to guess that he and I were close in age. As this thought came to mind, I could still hear customers murmuring, whispering amongst themselves and to each other. Did that samurai scare away the Mibu wolf? Looks like it. Maybe there's some good samurai after all, huh? He can't be a samurai. He's too handsome. He's got some quick hands, though. The samurai seemed to have overheard their discussion, timidly retreating from his initial enthusiasm. As soon as he finished drinking his tea, please excuse me, it's time for me to pay my tab. He rushed to get up, but not before slipping me some last words. I'll be on my way now. Please, do be careful and try to avoid trouble, okay? Oh, Samurai fled the store, almost like a dream, whispering around one's mind after awakening. He almost gave me no opportunity to thank him properly for earlier. I rushed after the samurai. Wait! I chased after him, yelling to catch his attention. Is something the matter? Thank you so much for earlier. You saved me. I didn't do anything to warrant a thanks. He turned away from me, stopping to gaze at the clouds swirling above us. However, it seems like the Shinsengumi's name is dragged through the dirt. If today's incident is an indication, then I can't blame people for having their reservations. Well, what should I say? Explain the situation. It's not as if I know the men of the Shinsengumi better than anyone else. I don't think all of the Shinsengumi men would ever behave like that other man did. He was just plain cruel. I'm sure you understand better than anyone, but out of all of the warriors in the city, they're bound to be the rotten eggs in the bunch. I know. I don't think that man represents the Shinsengumi at all. There was a pause in our conversation, and the wind whistled softly in the background. Samurai didn't break his concentration, staring intently into my face. His eyes seemed to be searching for something, perhaps a faint glimmer of a long-distant memory. If only he could tell me what seemed to be on the tip of his tongue, but he shut his eyes and turned. Well, I'll be on my way now. Oh, sorry for stopping. Oh, that was me. Oh, sorry for stopping you. Don't worry about it. I'm glad I got to see you, Spacey. Huh? How did he know my name? Who was this man? Samurai turned his back to me and departed. He wasn't familiar to me. Was I to him? I didn't have much time to consider what any of this meant because Hijikata returned shortly after. Did I make you wait for long? How was it? Did you obtain any information on Kyoto? Hijikata... I quietly shook my head in response. I see. Well, it's not like people around here are willing to talk easily. Don't think much of it. As we walked back towards the headquarters, I filled Hijikata in on the earlier proceedings. Takeda did what? Somehow he was able to contain a palpable rage without lashing out at me. Don't tell anyone what you saw today. I mean no one. Not even the captains to whom I know you confide. Do I make myself clear? His voice was stern, and I quietly nodded. Uh-huh. This doesn't need to be said, but don't ever let your guard down, especially in front of people you don't recognize. Shinsengumi has to protect its secrets, sometimes even from its own members. Most of all, that buffoon Takeda, who knows nothing. I understand. Once Hijikata was convinced of my understanding, he probed more questions. You mentioned a mysterious samurai came to your aid. Please elaborate. Oh, I forgot to ask his name. What? How the hell am I supposed to thank him? I don't know. It all happened so fast. Well, fine. You happen to cross paths again. Be sure to ask him for his name. He curtly muttered, then left me with his last thought. Despite everything, sorry to hear no news of your father came to light. Hopefully Saito or Shinpachi had better luck than you. Yes, hopefully. Yes. I'd forgotten that I accomplished nothing I wanted to today. We rushed back to the base. Once back at headquarters, we discovered the sighting of my father at Torada Inn was false, crushing the sliver of happiness I'd held onto. You didn't get to look at Ryuma's beautiful face, because you didn't go with Saito. Because you had to go with Hijikata. But we get no romance points with Hijikata. Chapter 2. July 1864. No news of my father came forth the other day, and somber restlessness took hold of me. Originally, it seemed Hijikata granted me approval to accompany the captains on their rounds through Kyoto to search for my dad. Then he called me in. Excuse me. I saw Okita and Heisuke had been summoned along with me, and I felt a partial sense of relief. It did a little to calm my chattering nerves, and I didn't want to be in a bad spot with Hijikata. You called me? Hijikata seemed to be in a foul mood, so I decided it was best to act with tact in his presence. I was thinking about the search for Kodo. Maybe it's best to put a halt to it for now. What? But why? We just started looking for him. Stopping now would surely cause any of our leads to run dry. His words stunned me. How could he back out on this? Hijikata remained deeply composed. We have reports of activity from the Choshu. They don't bode well for us. It'd be highly dangerous for you to be out and about. I heard how the warriors of the Choshu domain associated with the Imperial Nationalist Party. For some reason, they find foreigners repulsive, using brute force to prevent any foreign presence. All of their faith is aligned with the Emperor. The Shinsengumi, on the other hand, serve the Shogun, meaning they're directly opposed. If the Choshu is active, it could mean that my own goal is of little concern to the Shinsengumi. I might become something of a burden to them. So, are you asking me to refrain from joining rounds until things with the Choshu domain settle? Hijikata nodded and turned towards the two men. That being said, as of right now, she's not to accompany any rounds with any captains. Oh, I get it now. That's why you pulled us in here, right? Heisuke seemed 2 steps behind Hijikata's words, till this very moment where it seemed to click. You know, she never caused any trouble during any rounds she joined us in. I kind of feel like it shouldn't be a problem if she tagged along. Yeah, even if something were to happen, as long as she doesn't get involved, it should be fine. I mean, it's not like she can run away from us if things get sticky, right? I won't run. I knew he wasn't being serious, but I couldn't stand to keep my mouth shut. I made up my mind the minute the men of the Shinsengumi agreed to help me find my father. I made a vow to never run from the Shinsengumi, for as long as they helped me find my father. My desire to find my father showed no signs of slowing, even since I first arrived in Kyoto. I'll keep my vow. So please allow me to continue looking for my father. I bowed to Okita, keeping my eyes locked with his. His smirk, however, shrunk slowly as he gazed towards me, caught in between words to say. If you stay with us, you're putting yourself at risk. If you want that risk, feel free to join us. I mean, we have witness reports that fit the profile and description of Kodo. You may have a point, but our witness reports enough justification to put her in harm's way. What if you're wrong? What if she's exposed? He's worried about us. Oh, you just want to stroke his arm. Oh, sweetie, you worried about us? Do none of you understand? You're placing an unnecessary burden on yourselves. Now I'm a burden? Wow. Oh, how dare you? I promise I won't cause any trouble. Please. If I lose the opportunity to search for my father, then the chances of finding him will sink. I lied prostrate before him, and Hijikata simply sighed heavily. You better follow the orders of every captain you join. No ifs, ands, or buts. Am I clear? Yes, of course. Thank you so much. I didn't know how else to show my gratitude, so I bowed deeply again. Hug him, that'd be great. Just grab him and hug him. Ah, thanks! He'd be like, fucking don't touch me. I'm leaving it to your discretion over whether or not you're going to join them. That's on you. All right. I had to make sure this was the best decision. There was something in his demeanor that made me unsure of my desire to leave the compound. Still, if I was with Okita or Heisuke, I'm sure I'd be safe and well protected. On the other hand, my presence could be an undue burden to them. Holy crap, I had to sneeze. That came on fast. Hold on. I'm sure we're going to leave the compound. Oh, we're going to remain in the compound. What was I to do? Oh. After contemplating, I decided to stay in. I couldn't convince myself that I wouldn't be a burden to them during dangerous situations. Ugh. Still, it was disheartening to think about. Another dull day spent inside. Throughout the past 6 months, I was allowed to finally search for my father on the rounds, and I felt like part of the house by contributing. Even though sometimes I was occupied with cleaning or cooking, it seemed like I was serving my part to the Shinsengumi in a meaningful way. I spent most of my time with the captains, but there were many opportunities to chat with the warriors and come to know them as real people. Maybe they were starting to think of me as a warrior in training rather than Hichikata's page. These worrying thoughts made me so anxious I was turning numb. The idea that I had become so dependent on the Shinsengumi at this moment, what should I do today? I was resigned to the consequences of my decision, something that felt like I was wasting away the tender moments of my life in these headquarters. I was, in short, with nothing to do. All right. I decided to enter the inner courtyard where maybe I could feel a pleasant breeze tinkle my face in the shade. The quaintness may calm me down. Damn it. Alas, no winds blew through the courtyard today. No reprieve from the harsh sun bearing down upon this dry emptiness. I was like, damn it. I had a feeling it was going to be a bad day. Shade was the best I could hope for, it seemed. I sighed, sitting in whatever shade I could find. Something occurred to me as the sun roasted Kyoto. Oh, right. My father's been here, hasn't he? They'd mentioned it, but they hadn't told me why. Was he tending to the injured? Or perhaps educating the Shinsengumi on how to avoid illness? Maybe he'd intended to stay here long term. My father never mentioned to have been with the Shinsengumi. He'd visited only a few times, or so I'd been told. If he'd really been their doctor, then he would have visited far more often, which left me with the question, why? It was extremely clear to me that the Shinsengumi had plenty of secrets, but I grew suspicious that these secrets deeply implicated my father as well. No, that can't be right, can it? I shook my head again, trying my best to dispel the dark thoughts taking shape. What can't be right? I spun around to find that Sanin had walked behind me, utterly undetected and unannounced. Oh, Sanin, is it all right for you to be walking around? Please, I'm no bedridden invalid. There's nothing wrong with me. There was a hint of coldness to his words. Although my left hand is something of an invalid. I couldn't bear to look at the sad, twisted smile he gave me. His arm hadn't healed, and it seemed certain now that it never would. The rest of the captains seemed sure that he would never be able to use his arm as he'd done before. And what are you doing? Are you allowed out of your room? You haven't been given the run of our headquarters, I'm sure. Yes, I know. I'm sorry. They usually let me walk around as I pleased, so long as I didn't go into anyone's room, but I knew that technically I was confined to my room. Any freedom given to me was simply a courtesy. In other words, Sonam was right. If he decided to chastise me for being in the courtyard, I had no reasonable response. There were some things I wanted to think about. I hoped the courtyard would be breezy. The moment the words were out of my mouth, I realized they sounded far more like childish excuses than a valid explanation. When you sneak about without permission, it makes it seem as if you have something to hide. I'm sorry. Still, I was beginning to grow accustomed to the subtle cruelty that seemed to accompany each word from Sanan's mouth. All right, I'm going back to my room then. I turned and began to walk away. Sanan's unpleasantness had stayed after he was wounded during his trip to Osaka. He spent most of his time locked in his room now, and he was quick to lash out on others in response. I knew the loss of his arm hurt him, more than I could understand, but I wished he could go back to being the warm, kind man he was originally. I turned around to see him still standing there. It's really hot out today. You should try and stay out of the sun. Please, take care of yourself. I gave him a nervous little laugh, and he responded with a chuckle of his own. His smile didn't look forced. Thank you. Take care of yourself as well. Okay. The Sanan I'd first met was still there. My spirits lifted. I ran back to my room. Oh, okay. We're like, we could go a little bit longer, but we're kind of like at the part where then we're going to start going to find them and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, we have to run after Hijikata and whatever. And I don't want to like stop in the middle of that. Like, this is a good place to stop. So we could go a little bit longer, but I'm just going to stop here. So, yeah, and then we'll continue. So I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.